everybody, it's Clara the Book Goddess, and today I am bringing you my December wrap-up. I am fighting a cold, so forgive me if I sound stuffy, but I had meant to get up my wrap-up and DVR video on Wednesday, and I had pre-filmed because I was going to have a crazy Wednesday, and I did, but I realized I'd forgotten books, so today I'm uploading 2 videos for you guys, and that is my wrap-up and my TBR. I am doing this as 2 separate videos because if I combine them, they would be super long. But let's just get into the books I read in December. The first one was I finished The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, and I had started this in September, and then I quit because halfway through it was like, who in the world is the villain in this thing? Can someone please explain the plot to me? And it just made no sense, so I quit, knowing I would have to go back and read it for English. I ended up enjoying it in the end. It wasn't as good as The Count of Monte Cristo, which I absolutely loved, but it was still not a bad book, but it was just confusing in the beginning, and it had just kind of gotten on my nerves. But, as I said, I did end up enjoying it. The other books I read for school this month included Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. This is a retelling of the Greek myth of Cupid and Psyche, and I loved this book so much. I think I read it in 3 days, which is the fastest I have read a novel that was a school assignment. And it was just a very good, thought-provoking novel, as C.S. Lewis's works usually are. And it was just very interesting. It was narrated by Psyche's sister, Orwell, and it was just a very interesting perspective on this myth. Although I would have liked to have seen it narrated by both Orwell and Psyche, but it was very interesting to see it from Orwell's point of view and not Psyche's. And I would certainly recommend this if you like C.S. Lewis or Greek mythology, or both. Also, for school, I read Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, which, to be frank, I did not like. It wasn't awful. I have read worse, but it had cannibalism in it, which disturbs me a lot. So when books tend to have that in there, I usually don't like it. It just kind of ruins the book for me, and I know it happened back then. There's still cannibalisms in the remote parts of Africa, I'm pretty sure, but it just really disturbs me quite a bit, so I just didn't like this book for that reason. But just because I don't like a book doesn't mean you won't, so you can go read it, you may love it, and that is fine, that's great. But I personally did not like it. Also, outside of school, I finished Storybound by Marissa Burt, a middle grade novel that I had started in November and not finished. It took me a lot longer than I thought it would, but I did like it very much. It was nice to go back to the whimsy and the lightness of middle grade after reading young adult for months on end. It was about a girl named Una Fairchild who is swept into this land called Story, where characters learn how to be their characters. So like Snow White was learning to be Snow White and going through her classes, and knights learn to rescue damsel in distress, ladies learning to be damsels in distress. It was a whimsical world, and I just liked the book a lot. It was very good, and I am very glad I read it. Also, I finished Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling, the 4th Harry Potter book, and I think I have decided this one is really my favorite. I loved it. I loved rereading this. Just that's all. That's all I gotta say. I loved it. Again, I will always love it. I also read What Light by Jay Asher, the book club book for December, but I have yet to have people to do a live show. I did a review of What Light on the blog, and as usual, the blog is linked down below if you guys want to go find that review and read it. I will link the review down below for you guys as well as the blog, and you guys can go check that out. But What Light was so good. It was amazing, and I have a hard time finding clean contemporaries. I want to read contemporary, but I have a picky mother, as I've said before, and most contemporaries tend to use language that shouldn't be in there or have too much sexual content in it, and I just wouldn't be allowed to read it. But I was allowed to read What Light, and it was such a beautiful story of love and forgiveness, and it had this amazing romance thrown in, and it was a Christmas book, and I love Christmas, so it was just all in all a great book, and made the list of best books I read in 2016. I also read Black Widow Forever Read by Margaret Stohl in a day. I read this in a day. It was so very good. I am a Marvel fan, and when I saw that there were books about Black Widow, I said, yes, I've got to read that. And this book was amazing. It was thrilling. I could not put this down. It had romance in it and adventure in it, and it was just an amazing story. And yeah, I cried at the end, but I'm not going to tell you why because that would be spoilering. It's a spoiler. Great book. If you're a Marvel fan, you should totally pick this up. It has Tony Stark in it, which of course makes for great humor. So, loved this book. Again, another one that made the list of top books I read in 2016. Amazing. Loved it. And I read Thor by Alex Irving. This was given to me by my sweet brother. And I read this in like an hour because we were on a little trip, and it was good. The movie was better, as is usually the case when books are based off of a screenplay, but it was still nice to revisit one of my favorite movies. Oh, and finally, I concluded the month with Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which was my number one anticipated release of 2016, and it was so good. When I read it in 2 days, I got this for Christmas and had it finished by Monday night. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book about the Queen of Hearts before she became the Queen of Hearts, and it was her story of going from this sweet daughter of a Marquess to the lady we all know and love as the Queen of Hearts, who's most famous for Off With His Head. And it was a very enjoyable novel that I highly recommend if you're a fan of Marissa Meyer or the Queen of Hearts. Marissa Meyer was the author of the Lunar Chronicles, which is an amazing series. So, definitely recommend to all of you out there. This is an amazing book. It just was in every way. Alright, so that is it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching, and in just a few minutes I will have uploaded my January TBR. So once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow the blog and subscribe. Bye!